1960 D. Lincoln Memorial Penny, worth $4,700. The 1960 D. Lincoln Memorial Penny holds a fascinating place in American numismatics, a coin that may appear ordinary to the casual observer, but has become a prized treasure in the eyes of collectors worldwide. At first glance, it seems like just another copper coin from the mid-20th century, with the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the stately Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Yet, beneath its simple appearance lies a story of historical significance, minting peculiarities, and collector intrigue that has elevated its status and pushed its market value as high as $4,700 today. To truly understand why this coin commands such respect, we must journey back to the year of its creation, study its design, appreciate its varieties, and uncover the reasons behind its lasting demand. In 1960, the United States Mint was producing billions of pennies to meet public demand. At the Denver Mint, where the D Mint mark identifies its origin, production was especially high. Yet it was also the site of one of the most famous and fascinating occurrences in U.S. coinage history: the small date and large date varieties of the Lincoln Memorial Penny. For the 1960 D issue, these varieties became legendary among collectors, creating an environment where even the most common coin in circulation could suddenly transform into a rare and valuable collectible. The small date version, in particular, became the centerpiece of endless discussions, price guides, and treasure hunts for collectors, searching through their pocket change. The differences between the small and large date may seem subtle to the untrained eye, the shape and size of the numerals in the date on the obverse, but to numismatists, they represent an iconic challenge and a chance to discover a hidden fortune. Abraham Lincoln's bust on the obverse of the coin, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, had already become a symbol of stability and continuity in American coinage. By 1960, it was well established as a national icon. Lincoln's calm, thoughtful expression was paired with the inscriptions "Liberty" and "In God We Trust," reminders of America's ideals during a time of immense change. The year 1960 itself carried weight, marking the beginning of a new decade characterized by the Civil Rights Movement, Cold War tensions, and the election of John F. Kennedy as president. The coin was more than just a monetary instrument. It was a witness to history, a tiny artifact of its era. The Denver Mint's role in producing these coins only added to its importance, as the D Mint mark came to represent not just location, but also a variety distinction that collectors would obsess over for decades. The reverse of the 1960 D Lincoln Memorial Penny, designed by Frank Gasparo, showcased the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., a design introduced in 1959 to replace the wheat ears reverse used since 1909. This new reverse was meant to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, and it added further symbolism by including a tiny image of the Lincoln statue inside the memorial, making this coin one of the first to depict a U.S. president on both sides. The level of detail and the boldness of the design made the Lincoln Memorial Penny an artistic statement as well as a functional currency. Collectors today marvel at the sharpness of detail in high-grade examples, appreciating how such artistry could be packed into such a small space. The 1960 D issue is notable, not just for its varieties, but also for the sheer number produced. The Denver Mint struck over 1.5 billion pennies that year, an enormous quantity that would normally relegate such a coin to the category of common. Yet, the existence of the small date and large date varieties transformed this coin from common to extraordinary. The small date variety is rarer and more sought after, often commanding higher prices at auction. Error coins also play a role in its desirability. Examples with doubled dies, repunched mint marks, or other striking anomalies have surfaced, each telling its own story of how the high-pressure minting environment sometimes allowed mistakes to slip through. For collectors, these errors are not flaws, but treasures, making each example unique. One of the reasons the 1960 Lincoln Memorial penny can reach market values as high as $4,700 lies in condition. While millions of coins circulated heavily and became worn down, a small number were preserved in pristine, uncirculated condition. These mint-state coins, especially those certified by professional grading services like NGC Numismatic, Guarantee Corporation, or PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, command high premiums. A coin graded MS-67 or MS-68 with blazing original luster and virtually no marks is a true rarity. Collectors and investors alike compete fiercely for such top-quality examples, knowing how few survive in that condition. It is the difference between a 1-cent coin worth face value and a numismatic jewel worth thousands of dollars. Auction history has confirmed the allure of this coin. Over the years, top-graded 1960 Lincoln Memorial pennies have sold for thousands, with some particularly fine examples setting records that astonish even seasoned collectors. These auction results reinforce the idea that quality and rarity are king in the coin market. The combination of a famous variety, a beloved design, and the challenge of finding superb examples ensures that the 1960 penny remains a highlight in collections and auctions alike. Beyond its financial value, the 1960 Lincoln Memorial penny holds cultural and emotional significance. It represents a link between generations of collectors, many of whom first encountered it while searching through pocket change as children. The thrill of spotting a small date variety or an unusually well-preserved specimen has inspired countless people to begin or continue their numismatic journey. It is a coin that brings together history, design, and personal memory, encapsulating the essence of coin collecting itself. The market value of $4,700 attached to this coin today is not just a reflection of rarity and condition, it is also a reflection of desire. Collectors want it not only because it is scarce in certain forms, but because it tells a story that is meaningful to them. Each 1960 penny represents an opportunity, the opportunity to own a piece of history, the opportunity to discover a hidden treasure, and the opportunity to connect with a community of people who share a passion for preserving the past. In summary, the 1960 Lincoln Memorial penny is far more than a copper disc struck over 60 years ago. It is a symbol of an era, a variety that sparked a numismatic craze and a collectible that continues to captivate. From its design roots in Brenner and Gasparo's artistry to its historical context in 1960 America, to its modern-day standing, as a coin worth thousands, it has traveled a remarkable journey. Whether as a small date variety, a high-grade gem, or a cherished childhood find, it remains one of the most talked-about Lincoln pennies ever struck. And as collectors continue to compete for the finest examples, the legend of the 1960 penny will endure, proving that sometimes the smallest coins carry the greatest stories. Next up, 1963, no mint, Mark Lincoln Memorial penny, worth $4,300, the 1963. No mint Mark Lincoln Memorial penny is a fascinating example of how a simple cent can transform into a coin of remarkable value when rarity, preservation, and collector demand come together. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally produced coins without a mint mark, this penny has achieved an esteemed position in the numismatic world, surprising many who might assume that all coins from this era are still common pocket change. At first thought, a 1963 penny might not seem extraordinary, given that hundreds of millions were produced that year, yet history has shown us that within the immense sea of copper coins lies a select few that carry quality setting, them far apart from the rest. These extraordinary survivors are the ones capable of commanding prices as high as $4,300 in today's market. To understand the appeal of the 1963 no mint mark penny, we must consider the economic and cultural environment in which it was struck. The early 1960s were years of anticipation and transformation in the United States. America was entering the height of the Cold War, John F. Kennedy was president, and the country was preparing for monumental social changes that would define the decade. Coins minted during this era became silent witnesses to these events, passing from hand to hand in stores, banks, and marketplaces. The Philadelphia Mint, as the nation's oldest coin-producing facility, was operating at full capacity to keep up with demand, releasing over 750 million pennies in 1963 alone. On the surface, such an enormous mintage suggests commonness, but collectors know well that quantity does not always equal accessibility, especially when preservation and condition are considered. The majority of 1963 pennies were heavily circulated, their surfaces dulled and scarred from years of use in daily transactions. By the late 1970s and 1980s, many had been lost, damaged, or corroded, leaving only a fraction in collectible condition. The key to value lies in those rare examples that escaped circulation and remain pristine with their original copper red, luster still glowing as if freshly struck. When coins of this caliber appear on the market, they immediately attract attention from collectors who understand how scarce they truly are. The difference between a circulated example worth only a few cents and a superb uncirculated coin graded at the highest levels is the difference between pocket change and a small fortune. Grading has played a crucial role in elevating the 1963 no-mint mark penny to its current value. Professional grading services like NGC and PCGS have examined countless examples, yet the number of top-rated coins is surprisingly limited. For a coin to reach a grade such as MS-67 or MS-68, it must display immaculate surfaces, razor-sharp, details, and full original luster with no distracting marks. Such perfection is exceedingly rare among coins mass-produced at the Philadelphia Mint in 1963. It is these elite survivors that have reached the $4,300 valuation, often setting records at auction when enthusiastic bidders compete for the honor of ownership. Auction catalogs tell the story. When a superb gem surfaces, collectors are willing to pay astonishing sums, knowing that opportunities to secure such a specimen are few and far between. Another factor contributing to the value of the 1963 penny is its place in the broader history of American coinage. By 1963, the Lincoln Memorial design had only been in circulation for a few years, and the penny remained a cornerstone of everyday commerce. Yet this was also the last era before significant changes in U.S. coinage began to take place. Just 2 years later, in 1965, the U.S. Mint would abandon silver in its dimes and quarters, signaling a shift in the very metals used to create currency. Thus, the 1963 penny represents the end of a period of relative stability before dramatic changes swept across the coinage system. Collectors often find appeal in coins minted during last chapters of an era, and the 1963 penny fits neatly into that category, adding to its desirability. While the 1963 no-mint mark penny is most famous for its condition-based rarity, error coins from this year also add intrigue to the story. Striking errors, doubled dies, and repunched dates occasionally emerge, each transforming an ordinary cent into a one-of-a-kind rarity. Some examples exhibit noticeable doubling in the lettering or the date, while others show misaligned strikes or unusual planchet flaws. These errors, when preserved in good condition, can magnify a coin's value considerably. Collectors are drawn to such anomalies because they embody the unpredictability of the minting process and offer the excitement of uniqueness. No two error coins are exactly alike. The role of collector psychology should not be underestimated in explaining why this coin has risen in value. Coin collecting thrives on the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of completing a series, and the prestige of owning something few others possess. The 1963 penny, with its high mintage but scarce top-grade survivors, perfectly captures that balance of accessibility and challenge. Almost anyone can find a 1963 penny in circulation or in a relative's coin jar, but only the dedicated collector, armed with knowledge and persistence, can identify or acquire one of the rare gems that command thousands. This dynamic fuels demand, as even beginning collectors aspire to one day upgrade their modest examples to a premium specimen worthy of a showcase. Market trends over the decades reveal a steady growth in the value of high-grade 1963 pennies. While once overlooked as common, the recognition of their scarcity at the highest levels has driven prices upward. Collectors who invested in pristine examples years ago have watched their coins appreciate, validating the long-standing principle that quality is more important than quantity. The current valuation of $4,300 reflects not just a temporary surge, but a long-term trend shaped by consistent demand, limited supply, and the natural attrition of surviving coins. The story of the 1963 penny also reflects the importance of preservation. Countless coins were mishandled, cleaned improperly, or stored in poor conditions, resulting in irreversible damage that stripped them of their numismatic value. Those that were carefully preserved, often by chance rather than intention, now shine as rare survivors. This contrast serves as a lesson to collectors today about the importance of proper storage and handling, for the coins of today may one day hold the same allure as the 1963 penny does now. Ultimately, the 1963 no-mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny is more than just copper. It is a symbol of time, history, and the enduring fascination of coin collecting. Its market value of $4,300 is not merely a reflection of scarcity, but of stories carried in its metal, stories of a nation on the cusp of change, of a mint producing coins for a growing economy, and of collectors who recognized hidden treasures in everyday change. Each high-grade example is a reminder that greatness can be found in the smallest and most overlooked places. For collectors, owning a 1963 penny in pristine condition is not only about monetary investment, but also about connection. Connection to history, to craftsmanship, and to the community of enthusiasts who share a passion for these tiny time capsules. It is this blend of tangible and intangible value that ensures the coin will continue to be cherished, studied, and sought after for generations to come. Next up, 1966, no-mint mark Lincoln penny, worth $3,750, the 1966 no-mint mark. Lincoln penny is an extraordinary coin that captures a turbulent period in American coinage history, making it far more intriguing than its face value suggests. At first glance, it may look like any ordinary cent, but when placed under the lens of history, policy, and collector enthusiasm, it emerges as a fascinating rarity worth up to $3,750 in today's market. Its story is not about design changes or flashy mint errors alone, but about the larger forces shaping U.S. coin production during the mid-1960s. The mid-1960s were a time of crisis for the United States Mint. In 1965, the government had removed silver from dimes and quarters due to rising metal costs, causing widespread confusion and panic among the public. Americans began hoarding coins of all types, not just silver, fearing that any piece of change might soon become more valuable for its metal than for its face value. This sudden wave of hoarding created severe shortages of coins in circulation, forcing the mint to take drastic measures to restore public confidence. One of these measures was the temporary removal of mint marks from coins beginning in 1965, a policy that continued through 1967. The idea was simple. By eliminating mint marks, the mint hoped to discourage collectors from hoarding coins based on where they were produced. The 1966 penny was born right in the middle of this experimental policy. Unlike earlier and later years, it bears no mint mark regardless of where it was struck. Whether the coin came from Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, all looked identical, a decision that frustrated collectors who valued mint mark distinctions, but served the mint's goal of reducing public hoarding. This unusual context gives the 1966 penny a unique place in U.S. numismatic history. It was not just a coin, but a participant in the government's struggle to manage public trust in money. Collectors today view it as a reminder of this unusual chapter, a coin that represents policy, economics, and public psychology all rolled into one. Despite being minted in very large numbers, over 2.2 billion pieces, the 1966 penny is anything but common in top condition. Most of the coins struck during this time were released directly into circulation, where they quickly acquired scratches, nicks, and discoloration. The mint was focused on quantity rather than quality, rushing to meet the overwhelming demand for circulating coins. This means that although billions exist in worn condition, very few were saved in pristine, untouched states. Those that survived with full original luster, sharp strikes, and minimal imperfections are the true rarities. And they are the ones capable of reaching $3,750 at auction. Condition, therefore, is the key driver of the 1966 penny's modern-day value. Professional grading services like NGC and PCGS have certified countless examples, but only a handful achieve the highest grades of MS66 or MS67. Coins with such grades are dazzling, displaying rich copper-red brilliance and surfaces free of distracting marks. Each time one appears at auction, collectors compete aggressively, knowing how small the population of such gems is compared to the billions struck. In this way, the 1966 penny demonstrates the principle that rarity is not always about low mintage. It is often about survival in top condition. Another aspect that makes the 1966 penny special is the presence of striking errors and die varieties. Although the mint was under pressure to produce coins quickly, mistakes inevitably occurred. Collectors have identified doubled die obverse examples, off-center strikes, and even partial collar errors among the 1966 pennies. These errors are not only visually striking, but also carry significant premiums in the marketplace, particularly when combined with excellent condition. For enthusiasts, hunting for these unusual versions adds excitement to collecting, transforming a simple cent into a one-of-a-kind specimen. Beyond technical details, the 1966 penny represents the culture of coin collecting in mid-century America. The removal of mint marks infuriated hobbyists at the time, who felt that the government was stripping away one of the joys of collecting. Yet paradoxically, this policy period later became a source of fascination. The very coins that frustrated collectors when new now attract interest precisely because of their unusual backstory. Today, owning a 1966 penny in superb condition is not only about possessing a valuable coin, but also about holding a relic of an era when the U.S. Mint was experimenting with ways to stabilize the nation's coinage system. The market for 1966 pennies has evolved steadily over the decades. For years, they were considered common and overlooked, but as grading services began highlighting the scarcity of high-grade survivors, values climbed. Auction houses began showcasing top examples, and record sales followed. Each headline-grabbing sale reinforced the coin's reputation as a hidden gem, encouraging more collectors to search their holdings for potential treasures. The current valuation of $3,750 reflects the cumulative effect of rarity, demand, and historical context, ensuring that the coin's status remains secure. For new collectors, the 1966 penny also carries a valuable lesson. It demonstrates that rarity is not always obvious. A coin that seems ordinary and plentiful can, under the right circumstances, become highly desirable. The key is understanding the nuances, the historical environment of its minting, the challenges of finding it in pristine condition, and the psychology of collector demand. These lessons continue to inspire people to look more closely at the coins in their possession, reminding us that treasures often hide in plain sight. Ultimately, the 1966 no-mint-mark Lincoln penny is far more than just a piece of copper. It is a witness to a coin shortage crisis, a symbol of the mint's bold experiments, and a testament to the enduring appeal of numismatics. Its journey from a mass-produced cent to a coin worth thousands tells us that value in the coin world comes not just from rarity in numbers, but from rarity in condition, history, and story. Each high-grade survivor is a time capsule of the 1960s, carrying within it the drama of an era when Americans hoarded change, the mint fought back with policy changes, and collectors argued passionately about the future of their hobby. When placed in this larger narrative, the market value of $3,650 becomes not just a figure but a symbol of recognition. It represents the respect collectors give to coins that embody history, scarcity, and character. Owning such a coin is not only a financial achievement, but also a connection to the very heart of numismatics. The belief that every coin tells a story, and some stories are worth far more than their weight in metal. Next up, 1969. No mint mark Lincoln Memorial Penny, worth $3,500. The 1969 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial Penny is one of the most captivating coins in modern U.S. history, a piece that demonstrates how a cent worth almost nothing in commerce can transform into a coveted treasure worth as much as $30,500. What makes this coin especially fascinating is not only its rarity and pristine condition, but also its association with one of the most famous and dramatic error varieties ever discovered, the 1969 double die obverse. Even standard examples carry strong collector interest, but the broader story of this year's penny elevates it far beyond ordinary change. The year 1969 was one of upheaval and transformation in America. The Vietnam War raged on. The civil rights movement was pushing forward, and the nation was preparing to watch Neil Armstrong take mankind's first steps on the moon. Against this backdrop of turbulence and triumph, the U.S. Mint continued its work of producing coins for everyday use, striking hundreds of millions of Lincoln cents. Yet hidden among this sea of production were a few extraordinary pieces that would shock the coin-collecting world and etch the year 1969 permanently into numismatic history. The most legendary of these is the 1969 doubled die obverse, a dramatic error in which the inscriptions and date on the obverse were struck twice in slightly different positions. This created bold, unmistakable doubling visible to the naked eye, particularly in Liberty, In God We Trust, and the numerals of the date. Unlike many doubled dies, where the effect is subtle and requires magnification, this variety is so pronounced that even beginners can spot it. When it was first discovered, confusion and controversy erupted. Some suspected it was a counterfeit or an intentional alteration, and the Secret Service even became involved in early investigations. But once verified as genuine, the double die 1969 cent immediately entered the pantheon of great American coin rarities. Though only a handful of true double die 1969 cents exist, their fame spilled over onto all pennies from that year, raising awareness and interest. Collectors began scrutinizing every 1969 cent they encountered, hoping to uncover a rarity. This heightened attention to the year's issue created an enduring sense of intrigue, even around the no mint mark examples that did not display doubling. As a result, the 1969 penny as a whole came to represent the thrill of discovery and the possibility of hidden fortune. Even apart from the doubled die, the 1969 penny in superb condition is scarce and desirable. Like other cents of the era, most were heavily circulated, and the mint's focus was on producing massive quantities rather than perfecting quality. Billions were struck, yet the overwhelming majority lost their original red luster within just a few years. By today, most surviving examples appear brown or heavily worn, worth only face value. The difference between these and a blazing red coin, graded at MS-67 or higher, is enormous. It is those top-grade survivors that command prices of up to $3,500, a figure driven by scarcity, competition, and the prestige of owning such a flawless piece. Grading services like NGC and PCGS have confirmed the rarity of high-end 1969 pennies. While thousands have been submitted, only a small fraction achieve the top red grades at the highest levels. Collectors understand how unusual it is for a copper coin of this era to retain its full brilliance, free from spots, toning, or contact marks. When such a coin appears at auction, it becomes the focus of bidding wars, as enthusiasts recognize the opportunity to secure an elite example. These sales set benchmarks, reinforcing the coin's reputation as a valuable treasure. The psychology of collecting plays a powerful role in the value of the 1969 penny. Every collector dreams of stumbling upon a doubled die rarity, and the year's association with one of the most famous errors in U.S. history keeps the allure alive. Even ordinary no-mint mark examples benefit from this reputation, as they serve as a tangible connection to the legend. When collectors acquire a high-grade 1969 penny, they are not only purchasing condition rarity, but also buying into the mythos of a year forever linked with discovery, controversy, and excitement. Market. History shows a steady appreciation in the value of 1969 pennies over time. In the 1970s and 1980s, collectors were already hunting for doubled dies, and demand for pristine examples quietly grew. By the 2000s, grading services and online auction platforms brought greater visibility to population data, confirming how few truly superb coins existed. This transparency fueled competition, and prices rose accordingly. The current valuation of $3,500 reflects decades of growing recognition, with each passing year reducing the supply of untouched survivors as more coins are mishandled or spotted. Error. Collectors also find the 1969 penny appealing beyond the famous doubled die. Other mistakes, such as off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or repunched mint marks on Denver issues, exist, and these bring their own premiums. Although not as celebrated as the doubled die, they add depth and variety to collections, reminding us that even a single year can produce an array of intriguing possibilities. What makes the 1969 no-mint mark penny so powerful as a collectible is the way it embodies the spirit of numismatics. It is not just about owning a rare object, but about participating in a story. This coin's story is one of discovery, perseverance, and the thrill of possibility. The idea that an ordinary penny pulled from change could be worth thousands has inspired countless people to examine their coins more closely, fueling the hobby for generations. The 1969 penny thus serves as both a tangible asset and an intangible spark, igniting curiosity in beginners and passion in experts alike. Ultimately, the $3,500 valuation attached to this penny is more than a price tag. It is recognition of its place in history. It is a reminder that even in an era of mass production, treasures can emerge. It shows how a single error can elevate an entire year's coinage to legendary status. And it reinforces the enduring truth that coin collecting is not just about metal or money, but about meaning. For those fortunate enough to own a superb 1969 penny, whether ordinary or doubled die, the experience is deeply rewarding. It is a connection to history, to craftsmanship, and to the thrill of discovery. It is proof that sometimes the most valuable things are hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right person to recognize their worth. Next up, the 1972 No-Mint Mark Lincoln Memorial. Penny is one of the most fascinating coins that has captured the attention of collectors all around the world. At first glance, it may look like just another regular penny, but in reality, this coin holds a hidden story that makes it extremely valuable in today's market. Struck in the early 1970s, this penny was part of the Lincoln Memorial Cent series, which ran from 1959 until 2008. On the obverse side, it carries the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner, a portrait that has appeared on the penny for more than a century. On the reverse, we find the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C., designed by Frank Gasparo, symbolizing strength, unity, and American history. But what makes the 1972 no-mint mark penny stand out is not just its age or design, it is its rarity, unique minting characteristics, and collector demand that have pushed its market value as high as $3,100 in auctions. This penny is special because it was minted at the Philadelphia Mint, which traditionally did not use mint marks on coins during that period. Unlike coins struck in Denver or San Francisco, Philadelphia pennies from 1972 carried no D or S mark, giving them a clean and simple appearance. However, what collectors really seek are the rare varieties from this year, particularly those with the famous 1972 doubled die obverse error. This variety features strong doubling on the inscriptions such as Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date, 1972, making it highly desirable. Such doubled die errors happened when the coin die was misaligned during production, causing a duplicate impression that is visible to the naked eye. Because of this, the 1972 penny is often searched for in old coin rolls, pocket change, and collections, as finding one could mean a small fortune for the lucky owner. The condition of the coin plays a major role in determining its value. A worn example found in circulation may only be worth a few dollars, but a well-preserved, uncirculated penny, graded by professional services like NGC or PCGS, can fetch thousands. Collectors are always looking for coins with sharp details, minimal scratches, and strong luster. This is why many of these pennies are submitted for grading, as a high grade on the Sheldon scale, especially mint state, MS65 and above, can dramatically increase the price. In fact, one 1972 doubled die penny in superb uncirculated condition sold at auction for over $3,100, proving just how valuable these coins can be. For collectors, owning a coin like this is not just about its financial worth, it is about holding a piece of history, a rare error that slipped through the minting process and became a treasure decades later. The 1972 penny also carries historical importance. The early 1970s were a time of transition in the U.S., with rising inflation, changes in coinage production, and growing public interest in numismatics. Many people began checking their change more carefully after reports of double die errors, and the 1972 penny became one of the most famous varieties of the Lincoln Memorial series. Even today, coin enthusiasts and treasure hunters continue to search rolls of pennies in hopes of finding one of these gems. This adds an element of excitement and mystery, making the hunt for the 1972 penny a thrilling experience. When we talk about market value, it is important to note that prices fluctuate based on rarity, demand, and condition. While common 1972 pennies are worth only face value, the rare double die examples can bring life-changing rewards. Collectors consider this coin a must-have in any serious Lincoln cent collection, and this demand continues to push prices upward. Some experts believe that as more people enter the coin collecting hobby, the value of rare pennies like the 1972 no mint mark doubled die will continue to rise, making it not only a collectible but also a potential investment. To put it simply, the 1972 no mint mark Lincoln Memorial penny is much more than just a 1-cent coin. It represents a blend of history, artistry, and rarity that makes it stand out in the world of numismatics. Its market value of $3,100 shows just how much collectors are willing to pay for a small copper coin with a big story behind it. If you happen to find one in your pocket change or family coin jar, you might just be holding a hidden treasure worth thousands of dollars. So always check your pennies carefully. You never know when a simple coin could turn out to be a rare and valuable piece of history.